we are a homebrew, non-magical D&D 5e game.
20. Dirty.
16.
That's a 23!
I just kind of look at the phone, and then I unplug the phone, because I don't want the phone to ring anymore.
As soon as you unplug the landline, your cell phone rings.
Parkour!
Just parkour! Like Olympic level sprinting.
When you're here, your family! And I punch it.
He's about 6'5". He's hot. He's hot. Roll insight for me. Oh no, you rolled really high, so I can't be an asshole either. I am gonna need a DC 15 Arcana. After surveying all of the equipment that Roman Gamble gathered for them, the party rolled an insight check on Roman Gamble to try and figure out why Roman cares at all. And Roman revealed that he does in fact have somebody in the Bureau's prison, the Killing Jar, and that is his motivation in doing it. Seraphine, your insight check revealed that everything that he said is true, and he seems to be genuine. You have thought of Roman Gamble as your adversary since you got into town and he tried to cheat you in a poker game. Does this give him any dimension for you?
Surprisingly, no. It gives him dimension for a reason. The fact that he looks so tired. He looks like he's been run ragged. And even I'm not enough of an asshole to take advantage of that. So I figure it's for a good reason. He's definitely telling the truth. He's asked for a reason to lie, and he knows I'll kill him. So he has no reason to lie. So yeah, in that case, I just say, no, I get it. Thank you. Shake his hand.
15. What did I get out of that?
Out of that, you got... I'm going to have you roll that one more time with advantage, because as a pop star, you read your audience every day.
Oh, that's 19 now.
19. Okay. So you see something completely different than Seraphine, I think, because you're looking at him from a different angle. You met this dude 3 days ago. What you do see on a 19 is that this man is exhausted. Not just tired, but in a way that doesn't go away readily. This job is not the only thing that he's going on, and you get the sense that it is, regardless of the job, you get the sense that it is taking something from him to work this job.
Okay. So I know all that, and I see what Seraphine does, so then I am and I say, just because I don't like the cutting your chair, doesn't mean I don't respect it.
Thanks, I guess.
I think Stevie...
Steve is just like, listen, the mission, it's enough for him to do anything to fuck with the Bureau. Like, he said before, I don't care who we're rescuing, I'm just really excited to do something that's not stealing parts from cars, but also that fucks with the Bureau. And if Roman has somebody inside the Killing Jar, then that's one more reason that Stevie's okay with doing it.
Okay. And Roman...
Also,
sorry, go ahead.
you're probably going to roll for all of this.
But let me just give you my spiel first, and we'll break it down. Okay. Aubergine would like to take the book from Roman, the herbology is what I'm going to call it. What is it? Basically, I want to take it. And several sessions ago, Jessica, the tech magician, gave me upgraded contact lenses. So my eyes are actually pink now, and I can read a lot of technology and do stuff. So I would like to take the herbology book and just scan it into my contact, so I have all that information saved to my contact.
So I'm going to split the difference with you because CB actually has a spell for this.
Yeah, I think the maps, the field guide, any kind of like text that we're gonna need for this mission that Roman's given us, I definitely would love to cast my download spell.
So let's say,
Can we say I start doing it?
yeah,
And then CB is like, pictures are faster. What?
it's a big book. So let's say that
I can't fit the whole file.
no, you can only do 20 pages per download unless you cast it twice.
Right.
So let's say that Aubergine, just with her augmented reality lenses, scans everything into the Paragon system's like main database, and then CB, you are able to use your download spell to start sifting through that information.
Oh, great. I love that.
You can just only do it 20 pages at a time.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I marked that off as cast on my sheet now, right?
I'll give it to you for free.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah, I'll give it to you for free.
I've never played a spellcaster before, so please bear with me.
Don't worry,
I mean,
plenty of chances.
you also have like a full week to study this book. I mean, maybe not a full week to study this book, but you have a couple of days. There's also a few last couple of things that
Yes, Roman had something else that he wanted.
yeah. A couple last gifts and one more request. So I do have an alpha beta radiation detector and a gamma detector. They're separate. The alpha beta is one unit and the gamma detector is another. Spare batteries for that. There's some sunscreen as well. There's also a really cheap grocery bag. Seems a little bit out of place, with all the hiking bags and duffel bags and kind of military surplus gear. There's just a grocery bag in the middle there, but inside there's a 4-pack of the same energy drink that Thalamus handed to Roman. There's a foot-long stick of taffy and a big bag of beef jerky, just there. Yeah, Belle Puck sent it along as a care package. She heard that I was looking for stuff for people going out of town, and she just gave it to me without being asked. I'm pretty sure I owe her a favor now, but I'm gonna pass the benefit along to you because I don't need this beef jerky.
Aubergine, roll history for me, please, with
Yeah.
advantage.
That was that. That was worse than that. See if I got any modifiers. Oh, I do. So it's a 13.
Okay, the DC was 10 because you grew up in the next town over.
Yeah.
You not only know who Belle Puck is, Belle Puck was a member of the Summer Court of 1997. She's a twin. Her sister, her name is Avalona. You remember her as being a stunt woman for her twin sister. Antoinette is her name. Antoinette Puck. Their names match. I did that for a reason, and so I wouldn't forget on camera. You know Belle Puck. You know that she was kind of like a Charlie's Angel back in the day. Like, she did a lot of action movies. She did a lot of horror movies, did a lot of stunt work, and she was part of those enormous parties. You know, she lives in a beautiful house just outside the city, and that she just has kind of a lot of pull. So her doing it as a favor to Roman strikes you as a little bit like, oh, okay. I didn't know he had it like that.
Belle Puck. My brother works for her. It's a long story.
Also, yes.
Stevie just sheepishly raises his hand.
Yes.
Can I try the pink thing? As he's like eating the gummy bears that he makes himself.
Roman, you know what that is. I'm gonna let you decide how to answer.
That's a secret tool that will help you later. Just wait on that one, all right?
I thought it was candy.
Oh, it is, but it's not gonna be useful to you right now.
Got it.
If you eat it now, it's gonna be fucking wasted, and not in the fun way.
Whatever.
Okay.
Can I roll insight on the candy?
Oh, wait. That's a good idea.
Crit fail. Crit fail.
Sorry.
No good, Batman.
Man, you're ready to get on the road. You're ready to just hit the open road, get out of town. That's where you are mentally. You look at the candy and go, huh, piece of candy. And go right back to being like, let's go. Ooh, piece of candy. You hand over the cheap grocery bag.
Yeah. And now I have to also ask you a personal favor. You don't have to do it, but since you're going out there anyway, and I know that these plants are going to be out there in the range, I also would appreciate it if you could bring back some chaparral and marshmallow root for me. Yeah, it's got nothing to do with what you're doing for Neuron. It's purely a personal favor. And if you can't do it or don't want to, that's fine. I've got other ways of getting these things. But since you're going, I might as well ask. I've already marked them out in the field guide.
I'm gonna make like a little side quest for myself to just get it for him.
Okay.
I'm not gonna tell him. I'm just gonna get it.
Do any of you say anything to his request, or do you just stare at him?
Yeah, I'm just kind of like, yeah, we'll think about it. Or like, we'll see what we can do.
I don't think Aubergine knows what he wants it for, but she's assuming that he wants it for a fancy cocktail that she's made back in the day. So she's just like, I misjudged you.
Cindy wants to ask, but I want to have insight on it first to figure out why he wants it. Can I?
What are you? Wait, sorry. Are you rolling insight on the taffy, or are you rolling insight on
Why he wants those things?
roll insight for me?
We're good. 5. One fucking good.
Roman Gamble's a mystery to you.
Yeah.
The inner workings of my mind are an enigma.
I think I just started with, oh, those are words that you said. I have no idea what they mean.
Yeah.
Not a clue.
Other than that, just make sure you bring back my shotgun, because that thing's really hard to replace.
For his part, Abe looks at the shotgun and looks at you and very carefully stows it so that it's sitting on top of things, so it's not bumping against the floor of the trunk, and just nods respectfully, the way that Abernathy does. All right. Is there anything else that you need to relay to them? Anything else that you want to give to them?
I think that's everything.
Circuit board and Aubergine. I would like you to roll Arcana to sweep the Jeep for surveillance.
I was going to ask that before we left.
Great. I forgot that we were taking the Jeep out in ours.
Natty 20, baby. That's perfect delicious.
That perfect delicious. The pink eyes, all of it's working for you today. You walk around the car while Roman is talking and kind of like explaining what he needs to Seraphine and CB. And you get down on your knees and you look under the car and you can see like pads almost that are stuck under the wheel wells. But looking at them, you can tell that not only are they not like explosives or anything, they're lights. They're just meant to aid your vision and they'll come on automatically. You know that there are solar panels that have been freshly installed on top of the Jeep, which probably explains why that wasn't what picked you up. You slide into the... Roman, is the door unlocked?
Yeah, sure.
You slide into the driver's seat and just like start to get a feel and set the mirrors and everything. As you do, you sweep through the car, and regardless of what Neuron says, Roman Gamble is a man of his word and his car is clean. They have no way to track you. They are relying entirely upon your word.
Does the car have a sunroof?
Yes, so the panels are on the side, and then there's a roof in the center.
So I pop out of the sunroof and I look down at Seraphine and Abe and I go, Ain't nobody knows this Jeep. It's just so fresh and clean.
Fresh as a clean.
Stevie watches the exchange and then just walks into the car and starts running his own sweep. I got a 23. Can I be looking for like how high tech the car is? What can it do? If I can kind of bring any cool stuff out of it.
Yeah, so on a 23, you see that the car has clearly been recently detailed.
Okay.
And that means the interior as well. The entire car has been stripped and put back together in 24 hours. It looks pretty high tech. It's not quite to like Desta standard of tech, but the solar panels feed into the car, so you should never have any trouble with the battery unless some damage is done to the solar panels. It can run on gasoline if you need it to, but you don't expect that you will. You look at the radio of the car and you figure it'd probably be pretty easy for you to jack into the system and set up like a waypoint for everyone. So you feel pretty comfortable with the car system. It's less complicated than the Rock, largely because it was a restaurant.
Gotcha.
You
So I
get the
can look
feeling-
at an app system.
Yes,
Got it. Especially with the maps that Roman gave us. Got it.
because you and Aubergine have scanned them in, so you have access to those.
Are you kids ready to go?
I'm already in the middle of the front seat.
Yeah.
He's already honking the horn.
Aubergine,
Yeah.
as you are preparing to say your goodbyes to Roman and get into the car, go ahead and roll perception for me. Roll it with advantage. I'll tell you why in a second.
So this is okay. Hold on. It's a 27, and I would like to explain to the audience how I got there.
What did you just roll?
Perception.
Okay.
So my perception modifier is. Oh wait, perception. I lied. It's not a 26. It's 25.
It's only a 25.
I wanted to explain this really cool thing that you gave me, and then I realized I was using it wrong.
It's like, oh no, I'm a millionaire instead of a billionaire.
On a 25, as Roman is asking if you guys are ready to go and everyone's starting to move sort of toward the car, you hear from a few feet behind the car, going on a trip, man? The handsome Dreadnought from the other night is standing there in his patrol blacks. And since it's daylight now, really quickly, I'd like you to roll a perception check on him.
Did I hear him? Did I hear his voice?
How long has this guy been standing there?
He came with Alamut, so he's been just hanging out on the corner.
Oh,
Another 19. My modifier is another 25.
So I
He is way more handsome than you thought he
no.
was. Now that you can see him in full daylight, his hair is not black like you thought. It's a deep chocolate brown that's parted and kind of slicked back behind his ears with like one long strand, like 90s style in the front. His eyes are this kind of like shifting haze of what looks green in some lights and gold in others. He's got big, deep dimples. And he's got a small crescent-shaped scar under his left eye.
You mean he's Johnny Depp the Crybaby? Electricity killed my parents!
On that perception check, you notice a couple of other things. He's got visible tattoos on his hands. His knuckles and the backs appear to be completely covered with stick and pokes, which is weird because you know perfectly goddamn well tattoos follow your body art and therefore they are banned. You also notice his eyes, just for a moment, drift over to CB. And they flash with something that's first like confusion and then recognition. And then something that he shakes off before he turns the full force of that huge dimpled smile on you and says, "Don't worry, I'm not here to bust your chops. I just think it's a goddamn shame you headed out of town when I came here with the express intent of asking you out."
CB is so upset.
Good boy.
CB is so upset.
You know what you see. You see a face you haven't seen in 3 years, except in your dreams. The face is on a taller, broader body that's more like the one you saw in the dream that started all this. But you know it even with your eyes closed. Lieutenant Jem Fane is not only standing right there, he's hitting on your friend. Aubergine, do you have a rebuttal?
I'm at a car. What?
Question, where's Seraphine in relation to all of this?
right next to them.
Okay, so Abe and I kind of look at each other, and then we do that slow stooping from the head turn in Aubergine's direction.
There's several things going through Aubergine's mind right now for character transparency. She is not dating anyone since her former partner got articles famous. So this is some bullshit. Flirting is one thing, dates are another thing. Secondly, where'd this fool go? We have place to be.
He's now
out of the
right
car.
behind you. He is just kind of materialized directly behind you with, I imagine, just radiating rage. Just flames on the side of my face.
No, I think Stevie is very stiff and just standing just behind Aubergine's left shoulder with his arms folded in one hand, like holding his crowbar while he's cross-armed and just making eye contact with Jem's name.
I think Aubergine ignores Jim for just a second. And it's just, you are so close to me right now. You're so close.
Yeah.
Seraphine reaches over and just grabs Stevie by the
No! Can I death glare at you?
Sure can. And I'm definitely right back.
At this point, I'm gonna lean over to Lieutenant and ask him,
My relationship with this person.
what the fuck do you think you're doing?
I would like to. Are you talking to me?
Right?
Are you talking to me? Huh? Who's
Time
that?
and place, little dog. Sorry, I was talking to the lieutenant. I asked him what the fuck he thinks he's doing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you don't know my relationship with Jem, but like, Stevie just don't with me.
Yes, but Aubergine's having a conversation that you don't need to be privy to. So come on over here for a hot second.
I just take a step back.
Jem looks totally
Oh,
nonplussed.
There's so much happening right now. There's so much. And like, Aubergine doesn't know how to deal with any of it, so she ignores Roman and Stevie and Seraphine. She knows all of this and just reaches out, like, does like one of these like cute things to Jem's face and says, I'll be back later.
Only you can see it because you are very, very close to him. Just the faintest blush spreads right here. It's very, very light. CB can't even see it from behind you. And he just says, I will be fucking waiting.
You have a good day now.
Ma'am.
I pulled Aubergine aside. Hey, just so you know, he's my age.
He's also right here.
I know, I pulled her aside.
Oh, I thought you just
Yeah.
like leaned
No.
into like talked into her
No,
ear. I didn't know. Okay.
I like glare at her as I pull Aubergine aside.
He's also a dreadnought.
No, I know.
And
You're
he's
trying to put him down. I'm just saying. He's also an asshole.
You're also legal, son.
So I turn back to Jem and I just, sup, traitor?
Oh boy.
We have to go now, darling. But
I
I'll be
walk
back.
into the car.
Jem says, ma'am, and looks over your shoulder, and you can see his eyes go real hard, real quick. And he looks over your shoulder and he says, traitor. Just call me a fucking traitor.
Okay, break it up, kids.
Yes, there's
Which part?
You have work to do.
I'm talking to my friend. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Which part of me sacrificing 3 years of my life to get you free so you could do something better is being a traitor? Which part? I'll wait.
We're supposed to.
One of us could go, Isaac. One of us could go.
Can
And
Aubergine,
I chose the one of us that had a chance.
I walk away.
can Aubergine roll persuasion?
I literally walk away.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can't make
Oh,
that
no.
noise for me.
Oh no.
Oh, so you wanted to spend most of your teen years in the military? Because that's what I did.
If it was a choice between me or you,
So
Kid, you wouldn't have lasted a day.
You're saying it's okay for you to make the choice when you are the one with the brains and you are the one with the talent and you are the one who was going to go somewhere. I was a grunt. I wasn't doing anything. You can be something great. Isaac. And you notice that every time he says your name, he makes sure to drop his voice so that nobody who's outside of this conversation can hear you. You were going to do something. I was never going to be anything but a soldier. I timed it. Listen to me. I timed it. There was time to get one of us out and down the elevator before somebody came back. I could have sacrificed you and saved myself, or I could have let you take the ride down the elevator, and you can be mad at me for that forever, but I'm not sorry. Ma'am, I'll be seeing you. And he turns around and walks away.
Okay.
Seraphine's just confused. She has less than no idea. She looks at Abe. Did you have any idea what just happened, Abernathy? Because I don't.
Abe says, I think the little one knew the soldier one, and things didn't go so great between them, and now it's a problem. Also, he did hit on your very pretty friend. So there's that.
Well, in every state in the Union.
Oh, missed priority.
Abe looks at his watch and looks at Roman, and it says, we need to go pick up Dinah right now. We should go.
Yeah, you do.
Anybody else in the car?
I agree with Abe, and my only priority right at this moment is doing this thing for that guy, so that guy can tell his boss we did the thing, then that guy's boss lets us go do the thing and get my friend out of the jar.
Okay.
And also so you can get back and go on a hot date with a 19-year-old?
A hot, problematic date.
Yeah.
Are you good, Roman? You guys say goodbye to Roman?
I think it's hard not saying anything to anybody.
Does anyone say goodbye to Roman?
Actually, yeah, I do. I kind of go up to him after everyone kind of filters away, and I had a piece of paper I'm just going to tell him. So I'm just kind of like, all right, no promises. No promises. But what were you looking for? Marshmallow Room, Chaparral, you said?
Yeah, I've already got them marked in the field guide.
Thanks. See you around.
Yep. See ya.
Okay. So.
I'm going to go home and sleep forever now.
Oh, yeah, you have a level of exhaustion now. So
Yeah.
You're going to pass out.
Roman, do you want to ride home? Because you look like you might die.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Drive safe.
All right. So Roman Gamble walks back into the darkness of Half-Life Aesthetic Society. You all pile into the car with a silent CB in the backseat and begin heading out of town. While this car is clean, it also does have neurons tags on it, so you have no problem going through the checkpoints and getting on your way. You make the familiar drive out past the third wake. You pass the old entertainment district, which has a lot of memories for Aubergine in particular. You pass the old school district. You start heading into the suburban area, and you head to Ghost Town, which is where the Bombshells and Seraphine's little sister Dinah live. Dinah is sitting cross-legged in the front of Honey Run, which is the cul-de-sac that her house is on, with her backpack next to her and her shotgun across her lap, just staring down the road when you guys drive up. And she stays there until Abe pulls up, like right in front of her. And she stands up and she like adjusts her little backpack straps and looks over at her sides. Ready?
And I look like a fucking latchkey kid. Get in the Jeep.
I slide.
I'm the youngest of 9. I am a latchkey kid. And she slides into the backseat next to CB and says, oh, hello, it's you again. Hi.
How old is Dinah? That's math. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I need to make you do math. They're all can't do math games here.
Dinah's the youngest of 9, but the gap is pretty short. I don't have the exact numbers on me, but Dinah's like, she's older than you. She's in her early 20s.
Early 20s. That's kind of what I thought. Okay.
Where's everybody sitting in the car? Where's somebody sitting in the car?
So you're driving.
Yeah.
You're sitting in the front seat?
Yeah.
Okay.
Front middle.
So that leaves Seraphine, Abe, and Dinah in the back seat.
No, I'm not riding shotgun. I was sitting in, we shouldn't call it the bitch seat, but I'm calling it the bitch seat. I'm sitting right in front of the radio.
Okay. So
I think, is Abe driving? Who's driving?
Aubergine. And
driving.
I think even with that open front seat, Dinah's gonna go sit in the back.
Yeah.
Make Abe get out.
Yeah.
And then sit in the
Exactly
middle.
what she did.
Yeah.
And then she just kind of.
Yep.
Okay, so
CB
where
go
the
ahead.
shit are we going? What's happening?
I turn around and say, we're gonna go get some old car are sequoias colors?
Oh, you're talking again.
Can we not acknowledge any of that part of my life, please? Are sequoias cars?
They
Yes
are
and
trees.
no.
They're trees.
They are big trees. They
Big.
are black.
Okay.
And you notice she keeps looking to her right and addressing somebody who's not there as if for confirmation. And just, yeah, they're like real big. They're big, big trees. You've never seen a tree as big in your fucking life.
So
Without
we're going.
looking at Seraphine says she's referring to her friend Big Douglas.
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive my manners. This is Big Douglas. There is nobody next to her.
I know. I like to do the stuff now.
You don't see anything because there's nothing there.
I think she's very familiar with talking to himself and creating friends because he's been alone most of his life, especially after Jen left. So he just, yeah.
And she says, don't you worry. He'll fit on my lap. We'll all fit in here nice and cozy. I'm ready to go when you guys are.
So we're getting Aubergine shit.
Just mutters to herself. I used to do a lot of drugs, man. Like a lot of drugs.
So trees stuff.
Yes.
Or-
Three.
Yeah.
So basically, being related to Dynasty Murray's and being related to Hunter S. Thompson.
Mhm.
That's exactly what
You can't tell if it's drugs or just her naturally.
Yeah.
There's just something happening internally that she's decided
It's
not to
50-50
wrestle
at
with.
this point. Like, it's up in the air. We don't know.
So before we take off, I want to reach behind and not look and just offer and pick up
Dinah reaches over the seat, like immediate snatch, grabs like 3 or 4 like a little claw, and then there's a pause, and you feel like energy next to your head. And the little ghostly hand floats down into the bag, plucks out a gummy worm, and slides back into
Can
the
I
bag.
please do an
Again, without looking up, Seraphine. Yeah, that happened.
I shall also do it herself.
fail? Can Ribbon help me?
Yeah, Ribbon
Okay,
can do it.
18.
18. On an 18, you see
All right,
the little special hand come up in the rear view
17.
mirror, and you think about what you know about Dinah so far, which is number 1, that she was probably Hunter S. Thompson in a past life, and number 2, she keeps addressing this invisible figure, and now there's a semi-visible hand that has just kind of floated over, and it appears to be able to interact with physical objects, and it drops the gummy worm in Dinah's hand and disappears.
I'm gonna step into you with advantage from Ribbon.
With
Ribbon,
advantage?
are you doing something?
This is not technology.
Oh.
This is not technology.
That's why I'm not surprised.
See if he just goes back to work on the car.
I can feel everyone looking at me for direction.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't know what you want from me, guys.
Aubergine just shakes her head and guns it.
I would like to point out, Abe also does not look at all concerned by this, although he does look concerned and then amused when Dinah turns very abruptly to him and says, Abernathy. Yes? You got hot and I'm very upset about it. And then she turns back, just facing the front of the car.
Aubergine doesn't look into the backseat, but she says, there's been a lot of people getting hot and other people being mad about it today.
Amy looks over the rearview mirror at Abe and nods, can confirm, and then goes back to the car.
I just see Abe's eyes in the rearview mirror.
And Dinah sees all of this and is just not.
I offer. It's just driving.
Also, as you and Abe are having this conversation and Dinah's talking in the middle, roll perception for me.
15.
The front right pocket of your bag is glowing.
What is that on my bag?
You know it's illegal to have lights on the car, right? My mom told me that. Why did all of our parents tell us that? I'm so mad about it.
And then
It's
when the
not
lights on, they're growing
I still
at night.
believe that, and I know it's not true. So do you want to reach in?
Yeah. Do I have to roll?
It's your bag.
Oh, okay. I reached into my bag.
You pull out the Pink Ranger action figure that Dinah gave you, only now her eyes are lit up.
What the fuck?
As you are holding her, you watch as her little arm just...
This is so cool! Also, what the fuck?
What?
Wait, it talks?
No,
Oh,
that's
okay.
Dinah. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, I was gonna
I was gonna say, this is a lot, guys. This is a lot for today. Why are her eyes glowing, Dinah?
Are they?
Are they? Yes, you know they're glowing. Why are they glowing?
Everybody else in the car roll perception
I
for
was
me.
gonna say, I was.
How I feel about this.
15?
14.
Insight, right? Perception? Same thing.
That's all you need. The doll's eyes aren't glowing.
Oh, sorry, 7. I missed that.
But all eyes are
Nope.
Fucking doll's eyes were just glowing.
You still see the doll's eyes glowing.
Dude, her eyes are still glowing. What the fuck?
Can I do an Arcana check to see if it's her lenses?
How are you guys not
We
seeing
all
this?
have like special contact lenses that let us see like augmented reality and tech. And so I want to see if it's just Seraphine's lenses that can see this.
It's brighter than all fucking outside here, guys. How do you not see this thing's eyes lighting up? Right?
My eyes are on the road.
You can sense light, though.
It's not the lenses.
What the fuck?
You suspect on a 15, this is something that is purely Dinah.
Dinah's magic. I'm just gonna write that down. I'm
Miss
just gonna
Ma'am,
write down that Dinah's magic.
Miss Ma'am, why is this glowing?
It's not. Not for me, anyway.
What the?
Don't worry about it. Just put her in your pocket.
Says the.
Look, I walk around with a companion everywhere I go. I roll deep, okay? Get on my level. Just put her in your pocket and don't worry about it.
Is everything okay back there?
They're fighting over some
Yeah,
doll.
yeah. And I. Fine.
As you go to put the doll away, she winks at you.
This makes me very happy. Oh my god. Okay.
I fucking drop it.
Okay. So you guys do get on your way finally as this is happening in the car and Aubergine is threatening to turn the car around, presumably. Everybody, especially Seraphine, roll perception for me as you are heading out of town.
Are we through the obstacles yet?
You're in Ghost
We're
Town.
gone.
You're heading
We're
to
gone.
Ghost Town.
I'm not trying to speak with her.
Yeah.
Perception? Dirty 20?
8. Was that a 6? Yeah, it's a 6. Okay, hold on. Wait, 6.
On a dirty 20,
Plus 6.
you remember what you just scanned in your download program, and as you're looking out the window, pointedly not looking at anybody else in the car, you see what looks like it might be chaparral. It's one of the herbs that Roman asked for.
Oh.
You know from the guidebook that it grows, it's named for the area that it grows in, which is chaparral. It's a partially deserted area, so the easiest place to find it is actually between Belle and Muerte and the forest.
Hey. Pull
Yeah,
over.
yes.
Pull over.
Yeah, pull over.
Is there a cat for the engine?
Noise? I don't know why bricks and cats are the same to me, but they do.
So I think I have my projected screen pop up. Point outside. That one we're looking for? Yes.
Bet. I'll be right back. Don't leave without me.
Seraphine, roll nature for me. Okay, so you're looking at the herb as you get closer, and you're not 100% sure that it is the right herb. It looks right, but there's just something that doesn't seem like it's quite the right thing. However, you don't have the book on you, so you're going based off of your memory. Not being 100% sure that it's the right thing, do you want to grab it and bring it back, or do you want to call somebody over?
Let me call someone over just to be sure, because I don't want to give him the wrong thing.
Okay. So who do you call?
I'm gonna call Susie.
CB, go ahead and roll nature for me. Actually, you can roll nature or investigation.
22.
On a 22 investigation, you look at the scans in your cyber deck of the plant. You look at the plant. You look back at the scan. It's the exact same fucking plant. And on that roll, you're able to use your mage hands, not your flesh hand, and you just reach down and yank that shit right out of the ground.
And then I think I take the grocery bag and just put it in.
Okay.
And just wrap it up for later. And then I just hand it to Seraphine. This is what I said. Thank you.
Okay. So in the notes on your character sheet, go ahead and mark down that you have the chaparral. So you grab that and then you head back to the car?
Yes.
Okay. So you guys are back in the car. You are on...
Look around to see if I see anything else. Yeah. Like for myself, am I learning of the area outside of the outfield?
On that investigation check, it's pretty sparse out here. It's mostly plants that would be native to the region. You don't see anything that looks like it would... you don't see anything that looks especially green or like it's getting a lot of water. You figure you probably have to go a little further west, and that it was probably kind of a fluke that he happened to ask for something that was so close. But you can absolutely roll investigation again if you want to just do one more sweep.
Okay, I mean, like, you know, what do I got to lose? All right.
Whoa.
21.
On a 21, you look around and you see that it is mostly chaparral in this area. You don't see any marshmallow root. Looking at the book, it looks like it's going to be a meadow or something similar.
Well, I guess that'll be nature check.
In looking at the field guide, you happen to speed past a page for aloe vera. And you read about its properties for hydration and for soothing inflammation. And you realize really, really far in the distance, you're able to see it with your lenses, probably 300, 400 yards away, there is a very large aloe vera plant that's growing out in the wild. So if you wanted to harvest that, you could, but you would probably need to take like a leaf rather than the whole plant because it's pretty big.
It's one of those like really big aloe plants. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Okay. So you have a dagger?
I think so.
I think you have a dagger, right?
I got the crowbar.
Beat it to a pulp. Yeah, we'll say that you're able to disseminate a piece of it from the whole plant.
I mean,
That's right. You did rip a whole plant out of the ground, so you just are able to kind of neatly tear it in half, and then does that go in the bag as well?
yeah.
Okay, so
I
I will.
feel like that's the best thing to keep because like aloe vera, I noticed it's sticky out of the one end, and I just feel like it'd be best to keep it in that plastic bag.
Okay.
But I don't know if they should touch each other.
You guys do have your backpacks and a bunch of bags in the back of the car as well. There's one bag that looks like it's empty. It's a slightly larger backpack than the rest of them. And it's kind of just shoved off in the corner. So if you wanted to throw stuff in there, you could.
Okay, so maybe I'll keep the aloe in the plastic because it is sticky.
Okay.
And then I'll keep the chaparral in one of the other bags.
How much aloe gets on ZP's hands?
It's unpleasant to look at.
He starts walking back to the car, and I go back to the dream where we all met each other, and I point at him and I say, "Sticky."
Steven's mad and he like, can I have like cleansing wipes or something? Tell me to wash my hands with it. I just wipe it on my jeans.
Yeah, I'm gonna say to use this. Okay. So CB and his moderately less so now sticky hands hop back into the car, and you guys,
sticky pants.
you have sticky pants. Yeah, you have sticky jeans, which is arguably worse.
Gross. I don't like that sauce at all.
Once you're like in the car and on the road, it's a little over 6.5 hours from Dello to the Sequoia National Forest with people on the road. So without them to hinder your progress, you find yourselves pulling up to the southwest entrance of the park in just over 5 hours.
Where, sir?
You are pulling up right now to Sequoia National Forest, to the actual national park. You follow the signs and turn off onto a little side road marked Washburn Trail. And maybe 5 minutes later, the matte black Jeep finally rolls to a stop on the outskirts of what looks like a massive forest. I would like a round of perception or insight checks from all of you, please.
Just character work as we're pulling up and the car stops you again. Camera pans in here, finishes work. And that's why you shouldn't take the visible person with you through TSA, because they don't like it. Ain't that right, Douglas?
Dinah is nodding sagely, just you don't want to do it. It makes the search weird. Just trust us on this one. And it's like nobody else has invisible friends.
What's TSA?
Get out of the car. Everybody get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Is that it?
He's halfway out as he's saying it.
What are we rolling? Nature or perception?
Perception or insight?
I got and then that 20.
Damn.
Nice. I got a 30.
I got a 17. Nope, I got a 16.
So on all of the deliciouses that you got, including the perfect delicious, which is what we call a nat 20 around these parts,
A
apparently.
perfect delicious.
Seraphine, you see that the outskirts of the forest are only distinguishable as such because of the signage. The clearing where you came to a stop has like a visitor center and an information booth, both abandoned. And every tree, as far as the eye can see, is blackened. Like a skeletal carcass from the foundations of the earth. It is the death of ancient Rome sketched in desiccated charcoal. It's like standing in Troy the day after the last fire was finally put out. You get the sense that this is a sacked city. As for the rest of you, oh, actually, and on that, you notice that there is no sound in this forest. You don't hear birds. You don't hear animals. You don't hear insects skittering. You don't hear any noise here at the entrance of the forest, or coming from further in. So it's about 6 in the evening now. The sky is deepening by the second, but it's early twilight, so there's still plenty of light to see by. And you are alone in what is, for all intents and purposes, a graveyard. What would you like to do?
It's nighttime time.
Early twilight.
Early twilight.
I think that Aubergine gets out of the bar and like does her best Western movie. It's quiet. It's too quiet. And then I want to go picture.
Okay.
That was a 19.
On a 19 nature check, you take a good look at these trees. And they are blackened on the outside, but you can see that their roots go for hundreds and hundreds of feet. These trees are sickly, poisoned by the soil or by the fallout storms or by both, but they're not dead. On a 19 nature check, you get the sense something is not quite as it seems here. You can't quite put your finger on what just on nature, but you get the feeling that the trees are not quite as sick as they look.
I relate that to a good party.
We don't think they're not as sick as they look.
But they look fucked up, but they're not fucked up. Like me, you know, I look like a mess. So I got my shit together.
Like, is there a certain vibe that you're getting from the trees that they're like?
Do you guys want to move further in? Because right now you're standing in like right at the entrance of the path that leads into the park.
Well, it's getting dark, so we should probably set up camp if we're gonna do that before it gets dark.
Okay.
So we should move in further. Do
We should probably camp up amongst the trees. I think that would be the same thing.
Yeah,
Mazz thinks that.
Okay.
I agree with that. Yeah. So then, yeah, let's just move in.
Okay, you are going into a forest. Do you want to leave the car here? Yeah. Do you want to leave the car here? Do you want to look for a better, more secluded place to leave it?
Can I cloak the car?
Sure.
When I'm just thinking, Jordan is like as a person who goes camping to national campgrounds, that we should probably drive it a little bit because there will be a place for the park.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna be an actual park, like actual campgrounds.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So maybe we should do that. And when we park the car, I would like to do an Arcana check to see if I can look it.
So you get back into the car with that information and kind of keep that in your minds as you're starting to move further. And you're about 5,000 yards in when you start to like really get into the thick of the trees, and you do see up ahead of you that there is a sign for a parking area. As you are driving toward that parking area, you look around and you notice, and I'm not even going to make you roll for this, you notice that the trees here are healthy. At least they are healthier than they were at the outskirts. The bark on the trees has faded slowly, almost imperceptibly, as you passed from blackened charcoal to like a deep mottled brown where the roots are visible to a more natural earthy brown about halfway up the trunk. And as you move further and further in, you see more of these still living trees that you cannot see from the outside. They look like the bones of giants. As you are even in the car, the scale of these trees is absurd. They stretch hundreds of feet above your head, but they're big in a way that the man-made structures of Bell and Huerte are not, because this is something that just happened on its own. In some places, the boughs bear like new, verdant, spring kind of growth and get so thick with the thatching in some places that you can't actually see the sky all the way through the canopy. You stand still for just a moment as you guys do exit the car. When you get to like this parking area, there's a clearing just off to the right. If you as you guys get out of the car and kind of like you hear the of all the doors slamming behind you, everyone kind of shuffles out. And yeah, the sound does bounce for a very long time. If you stand still for just a second and listen, you can almost imagine that the trees are talking to you. There's a quiet kind of coming through the branches. And it's like they're trying to tell you the forest's ancient histories and tell you about the world before the world began. You get the sense, even you, CB, that where you are standing is incredibly old. As a matter of fact, you have a vague memory of a movie you saw when your parents were still alive. You think there were dinosaurs in it, but what you really remember is how they made the dinosaurs by using some kind of golden egg and whatever was trapped inside of it. The word that you remember is amber. The trees have been, for who knows how long, but you and your friends have wandered into the place where their roots go deepest. And you get the quiet, niggling feeling that the amber has trapped you too. Nevertheless, you get out of the car. Do you unload your stuff? Do you set up camp here, or are you looking for like a clearing or somewhere further in the woods to camp?
I think Aubergine heard the bush and was thinking about like maybe the future talking to us, and she also remembered Dinah's weird, freaky magic hand thing. And so I think Aubergine looks at Dinah and Big Douglas and says, "Hey, what did the tree say?"
Dinah stops and listens for a second.
Also, can I just say, how do you believe that but not that my little Power Ranger eyes were glowing in the car?
Oh, you mean me?
TSA.
Everybody.
Oh, I believed you. I just couldn't see it. I assumed it was a you thing.
Aubergine, looking at you.
Yeah, you heard about the after TSA. Big Douglas, I've experienced there. Little Power Rangers.
Because let's talk about, life and, all kinds of cool shit. Oh, wait a minute, your Power Rangers eyes are glowing? Bullshit. Like,
I've been lying to you since the day I could speak, so I really don't know what you want from me. As for the trees, it would appear that they're bemused. They don't get visitors often. So they're not. And she kind of pauses like she's listening, and they're not sure what to make of you, I guess.
Shit, I'm not sure to make a new tree.
That's a good. Is it cold?
Not especially. Okay. It's getting chilly because you are in the woods, but it's still fairly early twilight, and you are in Southern California, so it's not horrifically bad. But you do kind of start to feel a little bit of a chill.
Okay. It's not super relevant. I'm just curious. I think CB is looking at what these trees are supposed to look like, and then looking at what they do look like, and it's kind of digging into how much destruction this planet went through during the parking wars. And it makes him a little sad.
And I think this is a first for CB because he grew up, within the Oxylux walls, and he went to the reformatory, so he got the Bureau's version of history. Yeah. And so he didn't really learn what happens when nuclear bombs are dropped. He learned that there's devastation, but he didn't really learn about the ways it affects things, and he doesn't. I think this is the first time that CB is getting to see what he missed out on.
Yeah.
Growing up where and how he did.
Yeah.
And then kind of let our
I think that Aubergine grew up in California, and she grew up, in a nice family. So she went camping before, she's been here before. And I think that Aubergine is one of the trees of hug, like literally trees.
Yeah, I think you got a 30. The car with your lenses is coated so that you all can see where the car is. It's kind of like a glowing,
like Wonder Woman jet.
Exactly like a jet. So you all are aware of the cars, but as far as anybody else is concerned, the car is cloaked. And Aubergine, you have kind of accepted that a lot of things about who you were when you were just a kid from Monroeville are gone, and the forest doesn't look the same as you remembered it, but it is still here, and it's one of the few things that you remember from when you were young that is still standing in one form or another. Does that make you feel better going forward, that there's this permanence that's here, or do you look at the trees and see that the trees are sick?
I mean, I think a little bit of both, because the sadness of the forest isn't what it used to be, but it is still standing. And I think because Aubergine's main priority is keeping Latin America out of jail, it's just a reminder that things can still exist even if they change.
Bars. Okay. Excellent. So, are you guys going to make camp by the car, or are you just going to head further in, or toward?
I'm going to prefer to Ava and Seraphine.
Let's camp by the car with the car facing the exit of the forest.
So we need to go.
In case we need to go.
Everybody leave your shoes on at all times, just in case.
That too. Leave the car pointed toward the entrance of the forest, and then let's just start kind of setting up camp here. Does anyone know how to make a fire besides me and Amber?
Yeah, you can let her go.
So Amber, you and I are
Yeah.
Set my computer.
That's not better.
No.
Okay.
I also think I would like to have Rivet keep watch.
Okay.
While Rose sleeping.
Yeah. I mean, it's still 6 in the evening.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure. You can set a perimeter for him to walk.
Well, actually, what we even do, it's a Jeep, right?
Yeah.
So we could actually even use a Jeep as a place to sleep. Abe will probably want to sleep on the roof.
You say that, and Abe at 6'6" just
really trying to fit inside the Jeep.
No, I'm not going to fit inside the Jeep,
Okay,
Sarah.
then.
I'm going to sleep on the roof.
Keep what?
33 years we've known each other, and I'm sleeping on the fine. Sleep on the roof. Sleep on the roof. It's fine.
Would you rather sleep on the ground?
That's the roof of the ground.
I mean, ideally, I can't fall off the ground.
Then don't fall. Well, just do your best. Just don't fall off the roof of the car.
Do your best. I was in everyone fucking. I can't do this with you. I can't do this with you right now.
Who's your buddy? Who's your pal?
It's you. You're my buddy. You're my pal.
I am.
Let's make this fire. Seraphine, go ahead and roll survival for me. Ava's going to roll survival as well, just to get the fire going.
17.
Abe has a +8 to survival.
What?
So he rolled an 18.
Amazing.
So
What
you
the-
managed. Yep. So you managed to get
Not
that fire
only-
started.
Not only does Abe make a fire, he sings his song from Regal while he's doing it.
Uh-huh.
I'm a survivor.
Just real quietly under his breath to
Yeah.
himself, and you can see him like really getting into it as he's stoking the kindling, and Seraphine's just like, I can't. Cool. That's my best friend. Okay. So Abe and Seraphine managed to get the fire started. It's a sizable warm fire. Are you guys going to hang out around it, or now that you've made camp, do you want to just crash now, get an early start? Do you want to go explore?
Too dark to explore. I think we should just kind of hang
Yeah, I
out.
think we should
It's been a long day.
Let's
I don't know
just hang
what
out.
tomorrow's gonna hold. Let's just kind of hang out.
hang out, go to sleep. We'll start looking for neurons garbage first thing in the morning.
Steve is used to like waking up before the sun, mostly because he doesn't have the sun in his lab. But I think what I would like to do is sit on the hood of the car, kind of cross-legged on my side with it. I know we have sat phones. Can I still try to reach Desta?
So your tattletales still work.
Oh, cool.
You still have that 5-mile range for you guys, but Desta is the master user on the account, so you can always reach her.
Okay. So can I reach a text message?
Yeah.
Okay. So I think I just want to update her on how the trip has been so far. I'm gonna let her know I did talk to Gash. I mean, I know she was kind of in the background during that call, but I don't know how much she heard. And just ask her to check in with Byron and also let him know what our status is.
Okay. So you send that text, and you guys kind of go about the business of setting up your camp. And maybe 10, 15 minutes later, you get a video message back because the morticians have no fucking shame and are just like, I'm beautiful.
Yeah.
Look at my face. So, of course, a like sweaty, but in that like glittery, glamorous Mariah Carey way, Desta picks up the phone, and she's clearly in like a workout leotard and is clearly just finished like doing something intense.
Is she calling me? Just sending me a message.
She's calling you.
She is calling me. Okay. Cool. It's like you've been busy.
Good job talking to the urchin. He only punched a few things, so I think you did a good job, actually.
I would be concerned if he didn't damage property.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Honestly, you got the best response you could possibly have gotten, so I want you to stop worrying about it, and I want you to focus on the task.
No, you're right. I am glad that I talked to him, but I'm trying to focus on her. I found some of the things that we were supposed to find, so I feel useful for once. So how are you guys?
Oh, you know, stab wounds and tasers and the usual. I have to go. Your tattletale still works. I don't know what your connection is going to be like out there elsewise. So just keep your eyes open, okay?
I'll keep you updated.
Okay, so you've checked in with Desta, you have made your camp. You guys are hanging out, and are you going to sleep, or are you just hanging out around the campfire?
I'm just hanging out. It's too early to go to sleep.
While you guys are hanging out around the campfire,
Aubergine has taken out the microphone and is singing all that legendary ballads.
Abernathy is
Can I
absolutely enthralled.
Can I make a request? Do you know deep in the heart of Texas?
And they just, oh, do you?
Aubergine totally sighs like, Jesus. The stars at night.
Hold on. He goes into the trunk of the car and gets the satellite phone and calls Samira. Just, no, ma'am, shut up. Just listen. And just holds the phone up and just,
Stars at night. Big and bright. Deep in the heart.
it's just, that's it. That's literally it. I'll check in when we have actual news. And from where you are, you can hear from the other side of the phone, and then nothing. And Abe hangs up the phone. And you see Seraphine like clap real big over her head, and then Abe starts clapping. You hear clapping from the phone. You're not 100% sure what Texas it is,
I made notes to like report back to Cash and all the weird shit from us at the Octopus because I feel like we're trying to keep each other posted about the shit we're discovering outside of our bubble. And I just write clapping ritual.
What is Texas?
You hear you send clapping ritual. What is Texas? Gash immediately texts back, I know this one. There's a long pause, and then like an ellipse, he says, it's a song. And he sends you
The song?
Yeah, an audio file of the song. It pops up on your thing, and it sounds exactly like what Aubergine just sang. And then he immediately texts back, it's hard to explain. Just clap when everybody else claps.
Copy. Thank you.
And with that, as you are all sitting around the fire, sort of taking in your surroundings and checking in with your people back home, we are going to take our actual break.
Thanks for joining in, guys.
Can that be a show thing?
Yes.
Just can that be how we hype up before the show?
Yeah.
From now on? Wonderful.
Texas.
Welcome. Thanks for bearing with us. When we just left off, our characters had set up camp in the woods near the sort of the first clearing that they passed. Is about 6:30 in the evening by the time they finished setting up camp, and they are hanging out in the forest. You said that y'all didn't want to go to sleep just yet. Is there anything that you did want? Because if not, we'll time skip and it'll just be morning.
CB's.
Yeah, we're in there.
Yeah.
For removal. Climbed up there talking shit the whole time. You heard occasionally you'll hear him like dramatically turn over so the whole car rocks, and you just hear like a some as he's adjusting his giant metal bones. Once he gets up there and like stops fucking running out like a light.
I'm on the ground. Actually, one has obviously car. But I'm on the ground. Also, because I needed to have one just in case. And got my little. I'm used to sleeping on the ground in the army, so I got my little rucksack kind of propped on my head. One pillow, blanket, got myself to sleep
All day.
all day. Kind of keep watch, sleeping with one eye open. But I didn't really get a lot of sleep, but I feel okay.
Okay.
I know this before.
I want to say that was in the pack fashion hammock. As someone,
I'm not even going to be careful for that. That's cool as hell. I'm just going to say that you managed to make a camping hammock. You've been there before. You know the trick to take it. Dinah goes to sleep in the trunk. Like the big back trunk space. Dinah she looks at you, looks at the ground, and slowly like opens the trunk, climbs in, and makes full eye contact with you. She closes it behind her. And you see like the light from her phone screen light up. And you can hear like her typing super, super fast, probably about the bullshit that is somebody asking her to sleep on the ground. And that is where Dinah sleeps. She and Big Douglas sleep amongst the equipment in the trunk of your borrowed Jeep.
Can I like her?
Yeah, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Dinah's fully like you see the light for way too long. You see like from under the car. Are you guys sleeping on the same side of the car or on opposite sides? Like opposite sides outside the car?
Of me and Seraphine?
Yeah.
I think
So,
on opposite sides. What do you want to do?
I'm kind of keeping watch at the same time. So I kind of set up catty corner from the back driver's side.
Okay.
So I'm kind of like set off just a little bit, not a lot, but just enough to where I can have a good vantage point.
And
So,
facing
like,
out the way the car is, right?
Yeah.
So like
Sorry.
here.
No, other
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm here. The car is here.
You're on
Okay.
the
Okay.
And then I'll just be on the other side so I can Seraphine. We're still seeing each other and the next.
Okay.
And then we're
Just patrolling.
I'm good.
One point I do want to make, since it is your first night in the forest. While your tattletales will work, the rest of your electronics do require electricity. You do have the solar panels in the car, but as you use your devices and get further and further away from civilization, you are going to have to start worrying about your battery life.
What?
Your cyber deck is your arcane focus, so you'll
Yeah.
still be able to use it, but some spells, as your battery drains, you won't have access to.
Can I show? I mean, before you should end it, it's plausible that they're like also 100% because it would have
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But my
That's why I want to mention it now
Yeah,
before it's like, oh, by
Yeah.
the way, we have
car, which I guess would be the recharge first.
Yeah.
I guess my question is, but maybe have something like a pedal system so you can just sit in your bike. Just like I'm just being an asshole.
Fair enough. That's what D&D is for. Okay, so the night passes uneventfully. The next morning, Seraphine and Abe are the first ones up, as usual. Abe gets the fire restarted, just to kind of warm things up. It's pretty chilly now that you are like not quite in the thick of the forest, but moving toward the center. There's wind that kind of sweeps in down over top of you. You do feel it through the night, those of you that are sleeping outside. But you wake up and the sky is just light enough to see by. After Seraphine and Abe wake up, who do you think is up first?
I just in my constitution that much.
How much did you sleep?
I rolled a 3, so I was down for like 6-7 hours. Kind of woke up and then woke up. So I was down until I woke up.
I'm gonna let you decide. Do you think you're tired when you wake up the next day?
I don't know.
Because that's really what I'm asking. It's
Yeah.
not so much how many hours of sleep did you get, but what was the quality of the sleep? Do you feel like TV like was down, like fully out, or always kind of just a little bit of REM sleep?
I feel like well, let's say 3 hours of sleep.
Okay. Okay.
But if you want me to take a little session later on, then I'm happy to do that.
We are going to keep in mind that he only slept for 2 hours, and we're just going to see where things go.
The reason doesn't outside.
Yeah, I'm not gonna have you roll with disadvantage or anything for right now. It become a factor later.
Okay.
We'll just mark it down for now. So that leaves Aubergine as the last to wake up. Do you just like do me a favor, roll a performance check. You don't know that.
You don't know that.
That's
Performance.
Oh, we have a
That's a
Okay. Do you roll advantage on performance?
no. The
Okay. So on a 10, I was rolling to see how hot you looked as you woke up, like whether it was full on like movie wake up or your hair is already perfectly curled. So you wake up like a normal,
yeah.
fall out of the bed, shit or anything, but you do like you just get up and you look like a tired person who needs to adjust to the fact that they're alive.
Yeah.
Um,
I think Aubergine is tired. She's had dinner. She's used to Aubergine.
Okay.
So she's moving real slow. And I think that I think she figured out
He knew what your tour rider was. He knew what you required. I think he definitely would have put you up and just been like, "Thanks for doing this," and kind of just sent you along some treats. Yeah. So you guys are eating breakfast. Aubergine is taking care of her skin. Rivet comes back,
My goal.
and his eyes with like lime green binary, and he has like a expression. You program him to have basic. He jumps up into your lap and kind of circles around and sits down and looks up at you. And as you're looking at him, his eyes flash over to video, and you can see what he saw throughout the night.
Nice.
Roll perception, see what you see. On a 14? On a 14, you don't see anything through Rivet's eyes.
He doesn't have that.
He has night vision. You don't see anything in the forest other than the trees.
Got it.
Exactly like that. I like that that's going to eat away at you for the rest of the weekend.
Being gaslighted.
I knew. I'm going to get a text at 2 o'clock in the morning like, why didn't you let them see the Power Rangers eyes though, man?
Being gaslighted. Real time.
That's what you get for bullying me my whole life.
hey,
These two are
Right up. So you don't see anything.
nothing.
No, you do hear things in the woods though.
Like I feel like can I go to take the animals?
I don't know that you would know.
Yeah, I want to know to listen.
Yeah, I don't know that you would have the world experience, like to pick out what the sounds are. I think you would be able to hear sounds and report them back,
Yeah.
and maybe have the others listen.
Okay.
But I don't know that you would just like. I don't know that you've ever seen a dog.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like,
There's no animals inside the house.
Nope.
Pets.
no, the only animals are like robotic or some kind of like special tech that's usually reserved for the very rich.
Because something in the radiation, like killed everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
can I roll? See if he tells us what noise.
Yeah, I definitely tell you guys. I'm going through the footage, and I think I'm talking you guys through what Rivet saw. It's like recorded. I'm gonna roll for perception too. I'll say it out loud.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a 19.
19,
It's a 16.
16. Seraphine, on a 16, you hear very, very, very faintly at the edge of your hearing hoofbeats. Not at a rapid pace, just kind of moving casually. You hear them move from, I'm trying to think of where you guys are oriented in the park. I have a map of the park, you guys, that I'm referring to forever.
Hybrid. This is not-
It's really incredible.
So from where you are, the noise that you hear, you're facing outward. You hear the noise come from behind you and go past you, back out the way that you came. It's not moving quickly, and it's not super close. Roll insight. Both of you roll insight for me. I'm gonna have you roll it because you heard what Seraphine heard. Also,
Yeah.
you did hear one as 17.
It's
14. Okay. So Seraphine, on your insight, you get the sense that whatever you did hear isn't a problem yet. You get the sense that it was mostly just checking you out. It kept a wide enough berth that you don't feel like you were in any danger during the night. But all you hear is a horse. You can't hear whether or not there's a rider. Aubergine, on your 19, you hear the hoofbeats. You hear them proceed past where Seraphine slept last night, out back the way that you came. And coming from, it's hard to pinpoint the noise because it seems like the noise bounces around. You're pretty sure you hear a howl.
Do you guys want that? Part?
The thing, they just are not that's the thing. Did you read that?
Got it.
Well, because
So the CB looks something
that's
like something grow. So yeah.
So you have a dynamite.
Like wolf is and what sounds like
So owl. It's like when people scream.
Wait.
Yeah.
Yes, but this little dog thing.
Yeah. Sounds like owl.
Yeah, okay. So basically, we're gonna make us.
Oh,
yeah.
you got it.
Just like big dogs with no people.
That's sad.
Yeah. I mean, they're happy,
Abe listens.
you know? Great.
Abe listens to the tape with you,
Sounds like freedom.
and he squints. And you've seen this look on his face before. This is the look he wears when he's hunting, with like no scope, no safety jacket, just his gun.
Well, I knew
Okay.
Diana, what's his class? Can I not know?
It's a fun one though. We'll see it in class.
Okay.
And he listens real, like he's right up on the cyber deck, like weirdly close to your hand, listening.
Good try. I'm walking up.
There's no need. Don't become alarmed. One wolf wouldn't make that much noise. One anything wouldn't make that much noise in woods these big. So, eyes up.
You can't really don't follow up with a sentence like that. Like if you say don't follow up, not like
Do you know how many times Seraphine has pointed a gun at me?
I mean what
Somebody holds a gun up to you, but after a while, Seraphine holds the gun up and you just go, yeah, okay, you're going about your business.
Yeah, every time she,
Yeah.
yeah.
Pretty much. So yeah, it's not, and it's terrible, and that's probably a bad way to die. But we're gonna focus on moving forward, and not nothing in the woods right now. Let's just
Oh, CB's fascinating.
let's just be real careful about where we tread.
Shit. So,
in the morning, you come back here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just-
At that point, I'll begin on the jeans. Come back.
wait,
Yeah.
you say in case we get separated. Dinah comes from out of the woods. Going for a walk.
Where is my
Yeah.
by yourself?
Yes.
When?
Well, I mean, I always have been Douglas.
When? When?
Always beside me.
Exactly.
like
He's walking with me, walking beside me.
like
When you were asleep, you did not.
I was asleep and then I was awake because that is typically how it works.
So you know. So did you go in there like nighttime?
I don't know. I don't know to watch.
You can tell dark or light outside.
It was dark-ish.
That means you definitely
Look, listen, here's you're gonna get mad is the problem.
I'm-
she already did.
Okay. So there was this weird blue light that was out in the woods. And you've heard of will-o'-the-wisps, right? I thought I saw one, so I went to collect and get my wish.
What would you wish for?
I can't tell you if the wish will come true.
That is so you found.
Yeah.
I remember all of my birthday.
It didn't curse me or anything.
Let's stay on track. Okay, so follow this blue light.
Uh-huh.
I don't know this.
It's an Irish face spirit that lives in the woods and leads wanderers astray most of the time. This one did not.
So what did it do?
Mostly just kind of hovered in front of me. Like that. And she points way down past the clearing.
That's
to a piece of sky.
Sorry. I said,
Oh no. I can feel that in my soul. That's the thing that happens to me regularly.
Here's
Nah.
what
She points past the car on the other side of where she came from. Down a little bit to the right. When you're really looking for it, you can see the tiniest mote of soft periwinkle light just pulsing very gently, like that.
Everything's next.
I want to.
yeah,
22.
10.
3.
Okay. Are you walking toward it, or are you staying where you are? And that goes for everybody.
Well, first of all, does everyone else see it this time?
Yes.
See me? See the light?
Yes, I see the lights, sir.
Okay, let's make it because last time there was a light, as I so
I didn't like she was
oh, well, I'm gonna go for the 2.
Okay. As you're walking toward it, it doesn't seem to get closer or further away. It's weird looking at it. It's like it's a fixed point in space. And as you get closer, you realize that for every few steps that you take toward it, it's moving backward.
It's
So
like,
you're always the same distance apart.
oh,
From what you can tell, it appears to be spectral. On your Arcana check, it's tech, but it's nothing you've ever seen before.
do I feel like projection from somewhere? Or maybe like it's projecting around something different, like a drone kind of situation?
You don't detect that it's watching anything.
Okay.
You don't detect that it's there to monitor. It doesn't appear to be there to do much of anything.
Okay.
Kind of.
I don't know what.
So I think I'll take a scan of it and then just put it in my system as an image.
Yeah, you scan it. It lets itself be scanned. And Danny said, "See, I told you it wasn't a problem. It took me somewhere.
Where yeah, where did you go?
Right fucking over there." And she points at the visitor center. And you have
She took
other places, but that's how earn the trust.
Okay,
It's up to you a place where it didn't kill me.
did it get
I mean, a little bit.
I mean,
you know, unplug the
we want to get.
I think it's
Okay. So the visitor center is for the fallen monarch area of the park. The sun's not fully up yet. It's still very early. There's enough light to see by as you move through the underbrush. Without anybody to maintain it, you notice that the sides of the trail are getting overgrown and starting to crowd over into the actual trail. And the trail's kind of starting to get muddled and straight bits of like kindling and dead vegetation. The trees in this area are thicker. They're more like the ones you saw closer to the entrance, like a weird sickly shade between black and brown from root to the visitor center sits in a clearing that opens up in front of you, vaguely shaped like a log cabin. Its windows still dark, decrepit rocking chairs still moldering on like the equally ancient wooden porch that's slowly being taken over by moss step by step. You see signs to move further back down the trail the way you came towards something called the Mariposa Grove, and then you see it on your right-hand side. You see the Fallen Monarch, which is across the way from the visitor center. And you also see a placard, which I am going to send to you guys in your lore chat real quick. The placard that you find is a didactic text, which is like one of those educational texts they have posted next to a painting in a museum or like an exhibition. It's usually written by the curators. And there behind this like rotting rustic wooden fence to your right, past the didactic text, is the monarch. It is hundreds and hundreds of feet long from end to end. Its roots have been completely ripped from the earth and exposed to the elements. There's like a deep kind of cavernous tunnel toward the base where the heart of the tree used to be. Bay window-sized holes have been eaten through into the inside of this trunk. Y'all are welcome to explore your environment and perform any checks that you'd like. I'm gonna have to while you do that.
Is that I'm not I
Sure would make fun.
but I also think I'm going to no, I lied. I'm gonna do honestly out here motion stuff right now. And I did all that 21.
21 will definitely.
Yeah.
On a 21, you don't get much. You've been here. You vaguely remember this tree. You've seen a picture of like a bunch of soldiers standing on top of it in like Civil War uniforms. So you know, like this tree is dead as hell. This tree is fully dead. One thing that you do as you're like looking at the tree and kind of looking at the text, you're thinking about the tape that you watched earlier. And as you're thinking, you just kind of naturally start to extrapolate, right? Okay, so there's one wolf in the forest. Abe said there's got to be more than one wolf. This forest is mostly to you and kind of just rolls around like a rock in a tumbler. What's feeding the wolves? Anybody else?
I think she wants to investigate the dinner center because he wants to learn more about what happened. He knows nothing.
Okay. Does anybody have a light source as you head inside?
I'm not confident. I mean,
I don't know.
I like my contact is basically
Yeah. Okay. So we'll say you guys have plenty of light as you go in.
Yeah.
Seraphine, are you going with?
Absolutely.
The inside is all done in like the same sort of rustic log cabin style as the exterior. All the furniture looks like it's made from the same roughly hewn wood, except for the reception desk, which is like a wide, smooth wraparound desk made from some kind of like finished wood, covered in old magazines. There's a thick layer of dust in most places, especially on the floor. And just beyond the reception desk, you can see a short hallway with a couple of doors, one of which is open.
Sorry, repeat that.
Open. You just beyond the reception desk, you can see a short hallway with a couple of doors in it, and one of them is open.
Well, I know the open door. I'm a dumbass.
Okay.
Let me go with you. Do I see about
Yeah.
You want to run that? I want to run that.
Okay.
Whatever you want. I would like.
You can. The DC is going to be high because the computer doesn't have power.
It doesn't have power, right? Could I use juice from a cyber deck? It's cool if not. I know it's a big shenanigan.
You can,
Just roll for the high DC.
but it's going to deplete your battery if you use your cyber deck to power something else.
Could I read the juice from anywhere else after this? It's cool.
Well, we know the thing is we just never talked about how long it takes to charge the cyber deck. I would imagine it takes a short rest.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's the same as since it's an arcade focus, whatever. Like, I feel like this is a spell,
Yeah.
right? So I would just have to and I would use a spell slot. I feel like maybe that's up to you.
Well, because the thing is you don't have like you don't have a spell specifically to power something else, so
Okay.
you'd be pulling from the power of the cyber deck, which
Okay.
you can definitely do. But it's going to cost you in battery life. If you all decide you want to take a short rest after that and recharge everything, that's totally fine. But that is going to be the way that like the charge mechanic works. If you use it for a big job like that,
Yeah.
like if
Yeah.
probably not if you use it to boost Aubergine's compact, but if you use it for a
Yeah.
machine that's fairly large,
Okay.
it's going to drain battery.
Okay. I think because they have a long day ahead of them, and they're probably not going to be stopping for a while. I think he just goes to see because he's never seen tech this old before. Can I just do investigation?
Absolutely.
Even though my arms are way ahead. Well, so-
Yeah.
Oh, my investigation is fine. Oh, 20.
Okay. So looking at this computer, you aren't even sure how fucking old this is. It's
Right.
barely recognizable to you as a computer. To the older people in the party, it's recognizable as like,
That's got a floppy disk.
well,
I'm
it's
not
not a
that
Commodore.
old.
For
Wow.
reference, the
Yes.
old ass computer that you're looking at is a 2000 edition Mac with like the colored back.
I really
Yeah.
Yeah, you've never seen a machine this old before. You're not.
For about a year.
Yeah, like you see like a bunch of old, kind of dusty, corroded cords, and you think you could probably power it on, but you wouldn't even really.
No hack. We're disturbed.
Yeah, it's like trying to pilot like a Jaeger for you.
Yeah.
There's too much possibility because
Yeah.
you've never seen anything. So you think that if you take some time and think about it, or maybe come mess with it in your downtime, you can probably start to figure out how it works.
Okay.
In which case, if you do, because it is a Mac, that'll start building you toward a proficiency with Mac system.
Oh, cool. Okay. Because I mostly use my own system. I built my own.
Your system investors typically.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys go through the door?
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm dumb and Sarah's pretty fun.
Roll, all of you. Help. All of you roll investigation for me.
17.
Okay.
22.
Damn.
18.
Okay. How am I going to disseminate this information? Okay, so 17, 18, 22?
Mhm.
Okay. Trying to figure out how I want to parcel this out. Okay. The first thing that all of you see is that the open door appears to be one of several field offices for different branches of the Sequoia National Forest Conservation Corps, which I will be referring to as the SNFCC from now on, so I never have to say that whole phrase again.
Wait, hold on.
S in
Sequoia National Forest Conservation Corps. It's a small offshoot of the much easier to say California Conservation Corps. You notice that this office appears to be for the Endangered Species Division. And CB on a 17, you see the name on the door is Dr. Alice Ballard. You are the only one who notices that the doctor has been scratched out of the frosted pane with something very sharp. And it looks like it was a desperate scratching.
Doctor.
Alice Ballard, ALYSS. LLARD.
And it's on her.
Yes. Aubergine, on your 18, you actually find an old herbalism kit. No one in your party, I believe, is proficient with that yet, but since you're here in the forest, I imagine you will become that. So I'll go ahead and I will throw that on your inventory. If I can type it out. I don't usually live my life with nails, and I'm struggling.
We're so good though. That freaking go.
They're my favorite.
Can't make
Ah, Decibel Nails on Instagram. Go follow it. Go do it. Okay, so Aubergine, that is in your backpack now.
Woo!
Seraphine, you notice a couple of things. You notice signs of habitation. Namely a laptop that looks early gen but functional. It's covered in like PETA stickers and stickers for some kind of organization called you also, and I'm sorry, CB and Aubergine, you each found something that I missed in my note.
Okay.
Hey.
I'm gonna send one of the phones to the Discord, and then I'm going to explain what each of you.
Okay.
Because I have to find out where I put them. I plan ahead. Let me have.
Just the audience where the amount of detail and work that Amelia has in this campaign. They are sending us custom made support in a Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Like graphics and shit. Like absolutely custom spell cards.
I'm a Virgo and I'm attentive.
Custom spell cards.
So the first thing that you find is an issue. You find issue 179 of a magazine called
Just ridiculous.
the Tellurica Plantarum. It's an old an old publication, like a peer-reviewed journal that was produced by the California Conservation Corps. Aubergine's got just like a stick. So you find the cover of that, and as you are, put this out of InDesign. I didn't do this earlier, so actually I'm not going to click it. I'm just going to tell you what you find. You also find, once you are further inside of the office, pinned up on the cork board near the desk, more pages from that same issue. You see the doctors that are mentioned on the cover of the magazine, Dr. Flannery and Dr. Baptiste. And you also see that there is a picture of Alice Ballard. However, it's been scratched out in Sharpie.
What the fuck? Dr. Sharpie?
That is not all that you see on this page. While I'm talking, I'm actually going to clip this because I'm in love with InDesign and I had spent way too long making the page for this 5-minute scene. along with the fact that Alice Ballard's face is scratched out, Dr. Baptiste's face is scratched out with a big Sharpie X. You can see that it's a woman. She's black, beautiful smile.
This is Dr.
Dr. Baptiste. And you see that her story is something about soil. It's called The Truth is in the Soil. Finally, you look up at the very top picture, which is of Dr. Flannery, and you see Dr. Flannery's eyes specifically have been scratched out. There's a big angry arrow curving down, and the word bitch is written in huge block letters. Looking closer, you can see tiny pinpricks in the face that look like it may have been used as a dartboard. And I'm gonna trip this real quick.
No. Okay.
That has actually already been here.
That's right. So a couple of sessions. We met and they were this
Mhm.
So I'm gonna all of this and other parts of the soil. I'm gonna ask that you all options planting stuff as you talk about that like planting.
I mean, I don't understand all of it. Bambi gets pretty technical sometimes. I do know that she had to work the same patch of soil every day for a year to get it to seed and propagate.
Have you ever talked about these guys?
The
And I went,
conservation Corps?
yeah.
Yeah, originally she wanted to be a part of that, and then the Lords of Ghost Town got famous. It's a group.
Can I roll Asian?
Yeah.
I'm not asking the question.
Yeah, go ahead.
CB, like, right.
I know what you're asking. I don't think Dinah does.
Okay.
CB's keeping track of information.
My 8 plus 3. So yeah.
Dinah doesn't, but Dinah has a sidekick. So Dinah says, and shoots off a text. Waits. And it finally did. And she looks at it and she says, she looks at it and she says, okay, she's asking what we're talking about, and takes a picture of the magazine cover and sends it. Immediate response. Okay, so according to Bambi, they're like, it was this group of botanists who specifically worked the national park system.
Okay.
They were all really, really young, real hotshots, apparently. There was one in particular who got into a whole lot of trouble. Dr. Ballard, I think. She got into a whole lot of trouble and was unceremoniously asked to leave.
You know why she got in trouble?
I don't. Bambi doesn't either. Bambi doesn't remember. She's gonna see if she can have Miriam dig some stuff up. But
Ask Bambi if they had any enemies, because I don't know if that person is still here in the very or afraid. But someone is.
Yeah, I just want to send some photographs.
Bambi, Dinah, takes a screenshot of each and takes a minute, reading the response. Okay, so Bambi says that she recognizes the names, but it's hard without the faces to fully place them. They're gonna do some asking around, her and Lady, and they're gonna get back and let us know what they find out.
Tell them thank you.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. As soon as I hear anything, I'll let you know. She seems not concerned, but it's more focused than you've ever seen her. Like you can tell that she's becoming more aware of like she's not worried about herself. She's worried about like the increasing weirdness of the situation and everybody else. So she's kind of like trying to rein in crazy a little bit. Aside from the fact that she did wander in from out of the woods, chilling.
I mean, the rest of our characters, so we have to find a person still in the woods. And
You ready?
You find.
Yeah.
One more thing. I'm just trying to find it.
What else did we find?
I'm gonna find it and I'm gonna send it to you, and then you're gonna know what you found.
and then I'll write.
Oh shit.
And for those of you who are wondering what we're talking about with the lore, this will all be available on the website later. I just didn't want to ruin it for the cast by posting it now.
Jay was.
Jesus Christ, no.
I should
Jesus
post
Christ.
Yeah.
For next week, I'm gonna make a folder of all the things that I need to send you, so I can just grab that. The last thing, just let me have, please, give, send. The last thing that you find is the cover of another scientific journal. It's kind of like under the bottom panel of the laptop where the keyboard is, and it's for a publication called Nihil Aurum. Seraphine, you were a nun, so you speak Latin, so you know that the title means nothing gold. It's written by Journal of Conservation Biology. This issue is from 1998, and it talks about Dr. Alice Ballard and the gray wolves of California, and there's a big picture of a gray wolf on that. So those are the things that you find in the visitor center.
Do you tell what it is?
Yeah.
What was it?
And then, were there any other checks that anybody wanted to?
I think maybe want to just go through the lobby of the visitors center and kind of scan and like try to find information about the outside.
Coincidentally, you didn't see what Aubergine got from the postman earlier when her stuff was delivered to the front door. You actually find a copy of the magazine that Aubergine got the cover for.
Okay.
All the way back home in Bella Muerte. It's covered in like half an inch thick layer of dust. There are like marks where someone's fingers have been turning the pages. The pages are kind of helpless. There are a lot of them. There's like moisture damage, termite damage. So you have a hard time getting a lot of the words. Yes, you have a hard time getting a lot of the words, but the cover is still fully intact. So you are welcome to take that with you. You are also, you are friends with Desta and Miriam, so they may be able to restore some of that data.
Cool.
Just forensically.
Yeah, I put it.
So we're still in visitors. Okay. Can I roll like I want to look around to see if anyone's signed that there's
Yeah, do you mean nature or survival?
survival.
Because you're looking for like tracks or traces of a living person or living thing.
Oh shit.
You can tell that someone has been here. You cannot tell how long ago it was.
Okay.
Yeah, on an acre's okay. Do you guys is there anything else you guys want to look at in here, or do you want to go explore with Dinah? You can go back the way that you came from, or you can go back the way that you came from, which leads to like an old horse trail that wraps around to a tree called the Grizzly Giant. There are signs for it in the clearing, or you can go back in the direction, of the wisp.
Aubergine to follow with garbage. She's like, I'm not.
Yeah. I think also he's very but he also feels like other side is fine. So I'm at perfect about that. I look at okay. So I wanted to voting whatever. Okay.
But
Yeah. But there's obviously center. Do we want to split up?
I think that doable if myself and Dave kind of like one stays with me, one goes with Dave.
Yeah. You go with one.
See what we can find, especially if someone brings it around. I don't really. I'm gonna get the bonus.
Okay, so you two are gonna follow. No, who's going to follow the light? Okay, so Abe will go with you two, and then go Dinah.
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, so first we're gonna go. Wait. The sun is starting to come up in the sky. You notice that the light doesn't appear any dimmer. It appears to always be at the same level of brightness. It's never difficult to see against the terrain. It glows brighter and very slow pulses as you head down the path, seeming to kind of like hover lazily, almost as if it's waiting for you before it moves further forward. No matter how far you get or how close you get to it, it always seems to be just out of your reach. We are going to pause you guys on the trail. We're going to head over to Seraphine and Dinah. Okay. And then I'm going to scroll to where I'm supposed to be for that. You're about a third of the way, like down, like heading into the path toward the other direction. When Dinah bumps her shoulder and kind of like works her head and is looking at a sign for the old horse trail. It's branching off even further to the left, and you remember the map back in the clearing, and you know that that is like the direction that you want to be going. Yeah, do you want to stay on the path you're on, or do you want to take the side path?
Take the side.
Okay, so you and Dinah start on the side path. CB and Aubergine. Are there any other checks that you would like to run on the light as you're walking? Because it's not really doing anything other than hovering.
I'm sure. Like it's like puzzle. No,
on a dirty 20, you look at this light. You get the sense that it's not sentient, whatever it is. It can't communicate with you. It can't understand you talking to it. It's hard to tell whether something is controlling it because it hasn't really done anything. It's sort of just there. It appears to be moving on a specific path, but you get the sense that it really doesn't care whether you fall or not. It's going to be going where it's going.
like yeah, got it. And then can I look around at what's in the path that it's taking us into whatever is clearer, or if it's dense? Like, can I tell if it's on a that's going back from, and like it's then just dense wood with seemingly
You were on a trail, so you're
Oh,
on.
okay. I'm on it.
So but you guys are still pretty close to the entrance to the park, so you're heading into the deeper portions.
And it's
It's just, it looks like you interrupted its day, honestly.
okay.
Like
it's annoying.
it's just there. It's just being a ball of light.
Okay.
You happen to be there witnessing it, being a ball of light, and we'll find out what that means eventually. Everybody on both trails, I would like you first of all to make a survival check for me.
Hey, 19.
Taking me long. Oh, gosh.
They're delicious. All right. So, Abe's group's set as far as not getting lost. Abe was kind of following behind you guys at like a comfortable pace, not out of disrespect, but mostly just to keep an eye on things behind him and also listen out for Seraphine. And Aubergine, you've been here before.
Yeah.
So you've been here before and you're on a trail. So you're just like, just fucking follow the one road that you're on.
Yeah.
Where it says it's going, we're good to go. Seraphine, you and Dinah pretty much have the same experience. You follow that side trail. You can see clear hoof prints, but you can't tell how old they are. And you are all on your trail. As you are alternately processing the stray bits of information that you found and contemplating the road ahead, actually, yet you want a high number.
13.
Medium, okay. 17, okay. Seraphine, you're on the trail with Dinah. You hear movement. You can tell that they are footsteps, specifically like a person. And you can tell that they are moving away from you, but at a reasonable pace. They're not running. It doesn't, from what you could hear, it doesn't sound like they're off to go tell somebody you're there. You get the same feelings when you watch the video earlier. That they are just kind of like, what the fuck is, who are you? You get the feeling that they're really just trying to get a sense of who is in the forest, whoever they is. They are whoever they is. You got
It is.
And you guys got 13s, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a 13, you roll for 8.
Less roll for
Abe's not gonna be able to do it for you. Okay.
Oh, no.
So y'all don't notice anything.
Oh,
You just keep walking. You guys are on your separate trails for a while. Do you stay in contact with each other, or do you just kind of travel and see what you see?
I think Aubergine, she's so not excited that I do think like bring it 10 to 15 minutes. She's like, we're still okay.
It's the same as sending like one text for every thought that you
Yeah,
have.
yeah, I think I just sent them like the information that we have gathered about this thus far.
Okay.
I think I also absolutely take a picture and send it to Desta. Like immediately.
Okay. So you send the photo to Desta. There's no response right away.
Yeah.
But it's early.
Yeah.
And you know the morticians are all fucking psychotic about being woken up before they're ready to be awake.
Yeah, like I don't
Yeah.
respond at all.
So she's not responding out of not responding out of spite. She's probably still
Yeah.
So it gets to be fairly late in the day. You guys stay in contact. You don't, Seraphine, you occasionally do hear like movement in the underbrush, but at no point does it like tip your senses into alarm.
Yeah, it sounds like something that should be there.
Yeah, you get the feeling it's just something that's kind of sniffing you out. And as it gets to be later in the day, you wanted to look for neurons stuff, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll me. I have so many things that I need to have open for this, so give me 1 second.
Oh no, this happens to me all the time. A nightmare. Because you need
I only have 2 screens, and there are so many things I need to be paying attention to.
Thinking about what we were getting you.
I need one because I don't know places. Okay.
No, okay.
You do. Aubergine's going to be the one doing the check.
Okay.
So
Right. Also,
that way, if Aubergine like fucks the roll, you can come back and save the day. But if not, then you have whatever you have.
okay,
Take
thanks.
more pizza again.
No, I'm still working on this one, please. I'm talking too much to eat, so it's just, we'll get there.
Yeah.
I'll eat it. Okay, go ahead, and I would like you to roll to forage for me, please.
Oh, foraging. What do or
That is going to be nature. It's going to be whatever your modifier for nature is.
that's actually
Okay. So on a dirty 20, you do not find the sequoia bark or the resurrection moss. You do see what you think is a redwood. You can't quite remember from high school what the difference between a redwood and a sequoia is, but you know that there is a difference and that they look a little bit different, and that redwoods are typically a little bit smaller. So you kind of go up to the tree and sort of just size it up and tap into your memory from when you were here previously. You know that the sequoias are in a different part of the forest, first of all.
Yeah.
You know that, like, well, it's called the sequoia forest. They're sort of cordoned away, at least the really, really massive ones. You do manage to scrape off some redwood bark. You get a pretty good sized chunk of it. You're not sure how much you need. So you can go ahead and mark in your notes that you've picked up the redwood bark.
okay.
And then, because you rolled so high, you also find a rare ingredient from this biome. Oh. So many things to look at. So many things, and I don't know which one is the red. So you take the guidebook with you to kind of verify, and once you take out the guidebook, you're 100% certain that it's a giant redwood. You also, it is not a rare ingredient, it's an uncommon ingredient, but I think it's one that Aubergine will like. You find cannabis. And Abe just, does she do that all the time?
this is the first time I've ever heard that specific line from her. But yeah,
Okay. I'm
I
with
know.
you. I'm with you.
I go, like, I found and something else.
What did you find?
Yeah.
Dinah says, "Excuse me, you found what now?"
You found what? Where?
Dinah can hear Seraphine's side of the conversation, and it's just way too close to her ear, trying to hear. No, I want to be included. I want to listen to it.
No.
You brought me here. Include me. Mom said,
I texted her. I know you're not a but if you just let me know what the hell cannabis is. I really
"Gash is a wig."
Oh no.
You get 4 separate text messages. They're 1 letter each. It's just WEED, 4 separate texts. And a bunch of exclamation marks after that. No further commentary.
But I'm not fast right now. But
You see the little dot of like the typing bubble. And then it says, sorry, forgot who I was talking to. It's drugs. Not drugs.
OSIT. Just one word.
Enjoy.
That's the conversation.
Okay. So it's probably, by the time you finish like actually getting everything and going through the book and verifying and communicating with each other, probably 3 or 4 in the afternoon. Everybody roll another luck check for me. You are trying to notice something very specific.
14.
14.
16. I have a modifier.
Nope.
16.
Perfect.
The wind.
I can't wait.
The wind shifts just for a second. And CB is the only one who notices. CB, you smell smoke.
Oh shit. And I would.
Yeah, you don't see any smoke, but you definitely smell smoke.
I tell them immediately.
Now that the rest of you have that information, do you guys want to try to perceive?
Can I say what?
Yeah, sure.
Is that a thing?
It's got walk speed, right?
Roll it like
Or the
I would agree, so I mean,
blood a 10 from a modifier.
Okay. Well, CB is already.
Oh, Jesus. What was your modifier?
not good. But Lord, oh, the 6.
Hold on. I keep forgetting to roll for Abe. Okay, Abe got an 18.
Thanks, Abe.
Abe uses those weird backwoods ass senses of his. And like you see him again just like get real intense and kind of focus into nowhere.
so
Behind.
Smells like
okay.
Okay.
I don't know exactly where behind us, but it's back in the direction that we came from.
We got
Fire out.
okay.
Cars
Okay.
when you guys did that, so
Yeah, I don't get any car.
no, there's no nothing. Again, you haven't even seen anything. You just smell smoke.
Okay.
But from all of your readouts, you have like,
Yeah.
fed car's fine.
Fine.
Car doesn't even appear to have been infected. As you were all kind of like frantically sniffing the air, honestly, is what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
As you were all kind of frantically sniffing the air, very far away, you hear.
I would like to roll perception because I would like to know if I would like to know if Aubergine thinks they real or she thinks they person doing it out.
Absolutely roll that shit for me.
Can I record the owl?
Yeah, you have Rivet walking around. He's just got like a little puppy speed.
Well, I want to be.
Yeah, he can absolutely record ambient noise.
Here, I'll roll.
That was a 9 plus
You're rolling 4 to see.
Mhm.
9 plus 15.
15.
Oh, sorry.
16, plus 3 is 16.
I will have you on the Abernathy roll.
Perception. I mean, I don't think you'd be able to do it. So you don't know.
I would let you do it, but you have to roll disadvantage.
Oh, I wouldn't know. I would Aubergine know to even think about it.
Okay. You are recording.
The sound.
What are you two doing?
Huh?
What are you?
I'm just to see if I can discern if it's man or animal.
Animal?
Is it
You
animal?
can't tell just listening, and you really hear like how quiet this forest is as all of you stop exactly where you are and strain to really try and hear through hundreds of miles of forest. Just to be clear what you're trying to perceive.
I'm really picked up by that.
You look back, Dinah's gone, it's been Dinah this whole fucking time.
I don't
I'm just saying that and then she became this rock star, and she did a lot of drugs. And then her mom got articles saying that she might have it too. So she's literally been at home watching shitty movies all the time in her hidden room, all she does, and plays music in her hidden room. So she is immediately a conspiracy theory. You got messed up posters on the wall. There's a wall in which that could just not be a beacon. Like she's in full conspiracy theory land.
Excellent. So, you're in conspiracy theory land. You are recording the sound, and you're listening, and you hear it again. And then you hear.
Are they talking?
And you start hearing from no matter where you are in the forest, it sounds like it's coming from all around.
Also,
You hear more than one wolf. You cannot tell how many, and you cannot tell where they are. Okay.
can we, or can Abe or whatever, smell how close this one? Can we smell close?
What you got for me, Abe? Damn. Shit. Okay.
Is he just AI and when we just don't know?
Abe rolled a 22. Perception. He kind of like walks away from you two back down the trail a little bit in the way that you came. And he points and back in the direction of the visitor center. Not quite where you remember the car being, but back toward that direction. You can see a plume of gray smoke rising. And
I
that's
knew it.
where we're going to end things today.
God damn! Oh, I'm so mad!
First and power.
I think we did a solid D&D today.
I'm Jordan Lynn. Find me at like or tell us a few times. Goodbye.
I'm Mazz. You can find me at Mazz Face on everything.
Oh, and I talk about pop culture as like kids.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm Morgana. You can find me on Instagram at DeathOfBellNails. Don't try to find me anywhere else. I want to be perceived. Mind your business. Have a great weekend. Stay safe.
Okay, Seraphine. That's me. I'm the one, except I'm so fearful. I am the fearful leader of this campaign. I am and have been and will probably be tomorrow when I wake up Abadonne Kilbride IV, but you can call me DK because that's a really long name and it's as pretentious as I wanted it to sound. Oh, you can find me at Atrocity Kids, probably. That's the thing that Mazz asked me to say. We're gonna leave now.
Yeah.
Oh, we have to do our clap, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Go home!